Good afternoon and welcome to today's live Napa broadcast. Thank you for joining us. Our focus today is physical activity. Physical activity is the cornerstone of a healthy lifestyle. Regular exercise not only strengthens our bodies, but also sharpens our minds. It uplifts our spirits and enhances our overall quality of life. Yet the journey towards a more active life can be paved with challenges. That is where activity providers emerge as unsung heroes. You're there to play a vital role, inspiring, guiding, and in supporting individuals on their path to physical well-being. You're well placed to cultivate a supportive environment, one that nurtures confidence and perseverance. We all need that sometimes. And you're there to customize physical activities to meet the individual needs and preferences of the individuals you support. The impact activity providers have extends far beyond the individual. Your work ripples through families, communities, and society at large. You are all doing an amazing job every single day, focusing and prioritizing the well-being of the individuals you work alongside. Over the next few weeks, as we lead up to Falls Prevention Week on the 18th to the 22nd of September, we will be launching a toolkit specially designed for activity providers to help them think about how they promote mobility and in turn reduce the risk of falls. So keep an eye out in Napa News for this fantastic new resource that should be with you next week. We have also opened our enquiries list for our revitalised seated physical activity training programme. If you would like to express an interest, please get in touch. We can come to you if you'd like to commission a training course for a group of staff, or you can join one of our open courses locally to you. So let us know if you're interested and we will get in touch with you. But for now, I have a very special guest with us this afternoon, a physical activity specialist in his own right, CEO and founder of Fitnniss, Matt Innes. We're going to have a bit of a chat and talk about Fitnniss and all their work. So, Matt, would you like to join us?
Hi, Hilary. Hi, everyone. Nice to be here today. Thank you for having me.
Nice to see you, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, really well, thank you. Really well.
Good.
Really looking forward to telling you all about what we do, and I hope you're well too.
Thank you. So do you want to just start off a little bit? Tell us a bit about you, about yourself, and what motivated you to start Fitnniss?
Yeah, so I studied sport and exercise science, and one of the modules was aging populations, special populations. Yeah. But actually, I was working in the school at the time, and my partner actually had a dream that I was delivering exercise sessions to older adults. So I did actually say, are you being serious? We've got work in the morning. But 2 weeks later, so I was like, is this really? But 2 weeks later, I thought, you know what? Let's give it a shot. My granddad had dementia. I could see I was working with him, doing some physical activity with himself, and I thought, let's give this a shot. And we found actually there's a real need in the sector for keeping people active, not just older adults, but people in general. People should keep active, keep moving, keep those endorphins flowing. So that's how we started back in 2012. It all came from a dream.
Wow. And now it's a reality, and they've just grown and grown. How amazing. So tell us a little bit about the aims and values of the organisation and the services that you provide, because they're quite broad, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. So the aims are to increase physical, emotional, mental and social well-being of all of our service users and residents. We do work across the care sector, so older adults, people with learning difficulties, people in mental health issues, rough sleepers, women in refuge, children in care. So it's a broad range across the sector. We started as a physical activity provider, but we then expanded our services. We had more of a well-being, looks more about well-being rather than just the physical activity. Yeah. Physical activity does play a really important part. That's our kind of our real core service.
Yeah.
What are the services that we have are massage therapy, animal petting, magicians, beauticians, and yeah, that's about it. That's about it. So it's a broad range of services across a broad sector.
Brilliant. And that the way that the organisation's developed, has that been in response to the interest? So you might work with people around physical activity, but then you kind of built relationships, or was it another dream? Was it something else that you thought might work and would try it out and see, and it just went from there? How did the extension of the service come about?
Yeah, I'd love to say it was a dream, but when I was delivering kind of on a day-to-day basis, I recognized that actually these are people that we're dealing with, and it's not just about physical activity. People are in their own homes, in the care homes, and I felt that people needed more stimulation, social interaction. Social interaction is so important, so that can come with the physical activity. It can come as a friend, we come in as a friend. But I thought, in what other ways could we kind of increase that social interaction, which will then increase that physical interaction and emotional interaction, and mental stimulation. So that's when we started looking at different avenues of actually, we're not just a physical activity provider. Let's become a whole wellbeing provider, that one-stop shop for wellbeing services.
Brilliant, amazing. And you're a NAPA recognised supplier. We're absolutely delighted to have you on our directory. Can you just say a little bit about why working with NAPA has been important to you, and how what you can offer the NAPA membership, really?
Yeah, it's really, really important. I think what NAPA have done over the years, kind of providing that platform for a lot of care homes to come together, a lot of activity providers to come together. I think it's really important. It's like a real glue that marries both the providers and the services together. And I think it's a wonderful thing, and I'm really proud to be a part of it. And as a NAPA member, I'd like to offer all NAPA members like a free exercise and mobility trial. But we'd also like to offer like 20% off our like African drumming services, or our petting services, or magician services. So we'd love to do that to all members.
Well, that's an incredible offer, I have to say. Thank you so much. And I know that I'll definitely be there for the pet therapy and the massage therapy. And I think I think there are various members of the team that would want to come along and hear the drumming too. We've heard so much over the years about, I think Gianna, our comms manager, actually met you because she heard you drumming before she saw you at an event once upon a time. So that's an incredible offer. And of course, for the membership, that's absolutely amazing. So how do they find out a bit more about that, and how to get in touch with you? And to get that going, what do they need to do? Is there some sort of discount code? How would that work?
Sure. So if you kind of go to the website, just put NAPA 23.
Yeah.
Fill out the form on our website, quote NAPA 23, and we'll be able to give you a discount code, on the service.
Brilliant. Very straightforward. That's amazing. Thank you for that, Matt. And do you have anything coming up particularly over the next few months or this next year around your projects or campaigns that you'd like to share with our members or get them involved in? Is there anything coming up for you?
What I'd say, we're currently literally, we're actually developing a new area at the moment. So we're developing up in the Northwest. So if you are in particular up in the Northwest, again, we'd love to offer you, we could probably be able to offer you like a free taster for our drumming. So we can offer you a free taster, but there's nothing really exciting that's happening at the moment apart from kind of that's the key area in the
growing
Northwest.
and growing and extending your services, and that's brilliant, isn't it? So there may be something targeted that we can do as well to get our members up there more involved, which would be brilliant. And I think we might have some questions in the chat now.
Sure.
That might just appear as if by magic along the bottom of the screen. I think I've got one coming in here. This one says, could you provide an example of a successful physical activity intervention that you've designed? So I suppose what makes it like a Fitness designed activity? Anything in particular come to mind?
This is very, very, very simple. It's a very simple method. So what we noticed back in 2013 were we needed to have something tangible for people to use. So, for example, if somebody had early onset dementia, to get people to focus, we just use our hands to kind of guide people, just to get a bit of movement, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we implemented something very, very simple. Oops. To click this off. We set up something very, very simple. Used a focus mitt and or a boxing pad, and use that as kind of as a tool, as an intervention. So within the pad, there'd be like a white circle or a blue circle or an orange or whatever color circle that may be, and we just use that focus mitt to encourage people to move who wouldn't particularly move. So that was something came in back in 2013, 2014.
And that's such a simple idea, but the difference that could make to help somebody to really focus is brilliant. It's brilliant. So what made you think of that? Was that just a bit trial and error? Or?
Yeah, trial and error. You know, again, we just used to use just our hands to get people to engage, that social engagement, that physical engagement. And I thought, actually, let's have something that's people can relate to.
Yeah.
You know, and it's something that's taken off, and
brilliant.
You know, it works really well.
Brilliant. Oh, we've got a nice comment here from Lizzie. Really interesting talk. I also love it when our carers and staff join in our seated yoga sessions. It helps their well-being too, and probably yours too, Lizzie, I would imagine. I love a bit of yoga. Any thoughts on, that's a lovely comment. Any thoughts on that about seated physical activity, Matt, and how that works?
Absolutely, Lizzie, and that's fantastic. I'm glad, you know, that's, you know, keep up the great work, and you know, it's great that you're encouraging your residents to take part in a physical activity, whether that's daily or weekly. And I think it's like, and I think everybody should encourage people to move across the country. You know, whether you're in your own home, whether you're in a care home, whether you're sitting in an office, I encourage everybody to move. So that's, you know, Lizzie, that's I'm really, really glad that you're.
We might have to introduce that at Napa, some seated yoga. We were just saying this morning how working from home has lots of advantages, but actually sitting still all day ain't so good. And we've got to practice what we preach and get up and about a bit. So thank you for that little nudge there, Lizzie. I think we might have to introduce some seated yoga. We've got another one here from Sheila. How do you ensure the safety of residents while engaging them in physical activities? I think there is a fear. We hear this quite a bit through our support service around physical activity. You know, what if somebody falls? What if they hurt themselves? Any thoughts on that, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, not everybody can stand. So we're looking at if you're a lot of the sessions are seated. But what I would say, if people can stand and you've got enough staff around to support people that can stand, encourage people to stand within a session. Every kind of physical movement can be adapted. So if you've got a group where people are seated and you might have half that are standing or two that are standing, just be mindful. Maybe they can use their frame as a prop. Maybe they can use a chair as a prop. Be mindful of your tempo, your pace, so that you know you're as quick as the slowest person.
Yeah.
But also, I'd say just increase your tempo as well for the person that's got a higher ability. So everybody has the ability, but some people might have more ability than others. So to ensure the safety, have enough people around. If there aren't, you know, perhaps if you could do one-to-one things with people that have more ability, who can stand. But generally, I'd say, keep people seated, but also, I've repeated myself now, but just be mindful. Just be mindful. So if there are more than one person and you're by yourself, just do a one-to-one.
Exactly. It is about feeling safe yourself as well, isn't it? That there's enough people around.
Absolutely.
You don't want to perhaps end up in a situation where somebody is unsteady on their feet, and for whatever reason you're unable to seat them down safely. So absolutely, I think that's a really good message. That if you're on your own, then seated physical activity probably is much safer for everybody involved.
Absolutely. And I'll add to that as well. I would really encourage activities coordinators have a tough job. So I'd encourage all staff members to get involved.
Yeah.
If you've got the time, help your activities coordinator.
Yeah.
Get involved.
Yeah. There's another question from Adam. This is fab. What strategies do you use to motivate and encourage residents who may be reluctant to participate in physical activities?
Yeah, really good question.
Really good question.
Really good question. So sometimes it may take time. We make sure that we give everybody at the start of every session that one-to-one, that kind of, you're introducing yourself, each person is an individual, each person is a person. So we say, we shake each other's hand. We make sure it's not, even if someone doesn't take part in one session or two sessions, they might be tapping their feet. That's engagement. They may just turn up into the room. That's engagement. That's one part of engagement. Or would say, have a laugh with them, find out what they like and try and engage in what they like out of that physical activity.
Yeah.
And get to know them, talk about their interests, and then people may then get involved. Not always.
I think the term exercise and physical activity sometimes puts people off, doesn't it? Especially if they've been quite sedentary for a while, for whatever reason, or they've had a fall or whatever. That might be a real concern that gets in the way. But come and walk to the garden and see the llama. Let's go, or for a massage, people are more likely to get up and, I suppose, and get involved, and that's physical activity as well. So I think sometimes it's sometimes the way we package activities, isn't it? How we make the offer accessible, how we make the offer sound interesting and attractive to people. So very, very good point. Really good question, that one, Adam. Thank you. And now we've got one from Jasmine. In your opinion, what role does social interaction play in physical activity programs, and how do you promote it? I think you've said a little bit about that, but anything to add about the importance of the relationship, I suppose, that you're building?
Yeah, sure. I think social interaction is key in all aspects of life, isn't it? It's not a case of just saying, come on, let's do exercise. Let's it's a case of building that rapport, building that friendship, engagement, looking in people's eyes, taking that time, being quite intimate in a way, so, and kind of you can't be cold. You have to have your personality. Bring your personality out. I always say about energy. You bring your energy out into the room, and people, receive that energy. And that's about that social interaction. Your body language is your social interaction. And if you're giving a good energy, generally people are going to respond with that good energy too.
I agree with you. I think it's all about feeling safe, isn't it? It's about feeling a connection and feeling safe and feeling comfortable. And that's half the battle, really, isn't it? If somebody is a little bit reluctant, that is, if you get that social interaction, that connection right, you're halfway there. Brilliant. Thank you. And this is from Tina. How do you stay up to date with the latest research and best practice in the field? I mean, obviously you're a specialist. You've done your qualifications yourself, but how do you keep your own knowledge fresh?
Well, we've got a great team around us. So we have like our Masters Sport and Exercise Scientists. We have our Level 5 PTs. So generally, it's a big team effort. So we all keep each other updated. So generally, it's about the team who are kind of really, who are generally on the day-to-day. They're the team. They're the guys that are really kind of updating our practices.
Yeah, that's lovely. So I think teamwork really comes across in the way that you present the organisation. That sense of team is obviously really important to you as their leader. That everybody, that you're learning from each other is just an extension from that. So that's great. I think is that all the questions? I think that is. I can't see any more coming up. I just wonder, and it came into my head when we were talking about perhaps adapting activities for people at different levels of ability for whatever reason.
Absolutely.
Do you do any work with people who are cared for in bed?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we absolutely do. So we work with we've worked with people in their own homes who have been discharged from hospital.
Yeah.
So we kind of, we've had a lady that we've worked with who was discharged from hospital. We worked with her 3 times a day, 3 times a week. She was bedbound, but we got her to the point where she could transfer from her bed to a chair independently. Yeah. And I think that's really important, that that repetition, that and having someone there having somebody there to support you, to motivate you through that, even when it could seem like a chore. It can be quite painful at times, but over time you build that strength. So working in people who are bedbound is very important to us. In the care homes as well. If people are bedbound, we'll go around individually if the home wants us to their own homes, and I think that's so important. And that's
absolutely. Again, I think we're hearing more and more actually that, of course, residents living in long-term care have quite complex care and support needs, and that if they don't require support immediately in terms of being cared for in bed, that may well happen within 6 or 12 months. And so staff need to have the confidence and the competence to be able to adapt what they see as an activity program for someone whose needs might change quite quickly. And I think any support around that, particularly around physical activity, where there is sometimes that fear around risk, and if somebody is quite unwell or there's lots of physical health issues, there may be a resistance perhaps to introduce or to continue physical activity. And we're always very clear that it's really important. Just get the advice of a specialist such as yourselves, an organisation, a physiotherapist, doctor. Just make sure that you're checking in regularly with a specialist practitioner who can just give you that little bit of support and guidance. That's really, really important, isn't it? That if don't do anything you're not sure about, really, but don't be scared either to try things. Yeah, absolutely.
And I believe that the more people are physically active, the more you can reduce that risk of falls. So
absolutely, which will be all in our toolkit that's coming out next week. So watch it. Great stuff. Anything else, Matt, that you just want to share with us that perhaps we haven't touched on yet?
I just think, the last point I'll make is that, everyone's doing a great job. And I think that, everybody should continue putting those smiles on faces. That's what we're about. We're about putting smiles on faces, essentially. And I think I know that all the activities coordinators, again, I always direct to the activities coordinators, but I know that everybody's doing a great job, and keep doing it. I know it's a tasking job. Yeah. It's a lot of thinking to do, and you're doing an amazing job. And, you keep the home alive. And I'll say, staff, support your activities coordinators.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. That's a really important message. And they were great questions from our audience, our listeners today. Thank you all for being here. If you're here live and you think your team might like to watch this later on, please do share it with them. These live broadcasts remain on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook pages, and they'll be shared with Fitness's channels as well. So if you want to watch it again, or if you've got a colleague or a friend that you think would like to watch it later, please do remind them that they can still see it on the Facebook pages and on YouTube. But for now, Matt, I think our time is up. That was absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us today. Please, we will put the discount that you very, very generously offered the members in Napa News. Make sure it gets out on social media. Thank you so much for being with us today. And we'll see you again soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.
Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye.